Hello, friends, and welcome. I'm Cassidy Carson, and this is The Life of a Writer. Take 3 for today. Once again, I'm not following through on the just record and post. I'm starting to get that itch to try to clean things up and make a better product, but that takes up so much time. Like yesterday's video, I thought it was a fun idea, and I enjoyed recording the video. I did minimal editing, of course, and things weren't set up quite the way I'd hoped, so you will notice that the end of my backdrop is showing and things like that. So I went ahead and posted it anyway because I didn't want to take any more time out of my day to re-record and fiddle with things, and I just wanted to get it up there and move on. Now, part of my problem is it's possible I might be coming down with something. I'm not sure. It's so hard to tell because some of it could just be the aches and pains of aging, like my sore neck, and some of it could actually be sickness because I am feeling a lot of pressure in my sinuses, which technically could be related to our heating system because we have a baseboard heater. It dries the house out, and then blah, blah, blah. Don't want to go too far down that road. And one of the reasons I'm on my third take of this video is that I rambled a lot in the last take, so I'm going to try to make this more linear. So we're moving on from the fact that I feel crummy to the fact that I am working through that. I am continuing to record my video for the day. It's not going to be as nice as I would like to make it currently, but I'm mainly keeping track of what I'm doing and how I'm feeling and what's going on. So I've already told you how I'm feeling and a little bit about what I'm doing, but the main focus of my next few days is going to be incorporating beta notes into my work in progress because I want to get book 2 of Restless Spirits to the editors by the end of the month. I was hoping to already have it out, but I think I am further ahead than I was with Passion Restored last year. I obviously am accountable to no one but myself at this point. The only schedules are really my own. Part of what I'm doing is working in between JT's releases because we like to stagger the editing so that we don't spend twice the amount in one pay period or one pension period, whatever you want to call it. We try to not have our work in edits at the same time because that gets very expensive. And JT is preparing to release Finding Salvation, the compilation. He has the cover. I believe he has the cover reveal today, so look out for that. Go check our social media. If you go to our website at www.carsonhume.com, you can find all the links to our social media and see where he has released the cover reveal. He has put the book up for pre-sale. I believe the ebook version is up for pre-sale. The paperback version should be coming very soon. He's got a proof copy, 2 proof copies on the way so far. So that's coming up. So he's done with the editing process on that. He's got his cover. We've already spent the money on that, and he's working through the release process. While that's happening, he's also working on, he has another book in edits with someone else. He works with Terry Case, who is a fellow author that does some editing, terrycase.com. It's TERICASE.com. Hi, Terry, if you're watching this. So he works with Terry. She does an initial round of editing, and she's very good at catching things. So he really appreciates working with her. And then once he's done incorporating the suggestions he's gotten from her, it goes to our other editors at Red Adept, where a series of people will work on our books, and depending on what part of the process they're in. So I think Terry may do maybe what's more considered a developmental edit. I'm sure she also catches a lot of the grammatical things that may be at issue, but I think hers is more of an overall developmental edit, whereas in JT's case, by the time he gets to Red Adept, he does more of the line editing, proofreading, and things like that. In my case, I have my beta readers. I'm incorporating that into my manuscript. Once that's done, I'm going to have JT do another read through just to make sure things make sense based on the comments I've gotten from him and others. And then my book will go into Red Adept, but it will go for a full package, which includes developmental editing. So it's a little bit more expensive that way. I mean, I guess it balances out because JT is using 2 different services, whereas I'm only using the one at the moment, aside from my beta readers. So we try to stagger the costs of those edits. He's already got his cover paid for. I will be doing a cover contest once book 2 is in edits. That way, it may be actually as it's getting into later edits, because the way our editing service works is that we pay for each portion of the edit as it happens. So as it starts getting into the less expensive part of the editing process, that's probably when I will do the cover contest so that we balance out the costs a little bit. At this point in time, since we did start our LLC, we do have an account that's tied to that we use for our professional work, and we are not yet generating enough income directly into that account to cover the costs of our editing and cover design. So we augment that with money from our personal account. We go in and we seed our professional account so that we make sure we have enough to cover the bills. Our goal this year is to hopefully make enough income to actually be able to stop using our pension to help limp our company along, you might say. Not that we spend a lot on the company side. We really try to be very conservative, I guess, about how we're spending and where we're spending. That's one reason this year we probably will step back from doing a lot of the paid events that we may have done last year. I think we're doing at least one that we're going to have to pay for, but the booth fees for the other events we did probably were more than we earned back. And then if you consider all the costs of creating books in the first place, we're not breaking even. So it's just a little bit of the financial reality of being a small independent publishing house. We're only publishing our own work, and we're doing what we can with, I guess we would call them contract employees, contract companies, because we can't afford to hire anyone in-house. Hopefully that may change over time, but who knows at this point, because JT and I are in our 60s, which I've talked about before. We don't know moving forward how much time and energy we're going to have to continue building the business. So we're trying to do as much as we can while we're still able, because we never know what life's going to throw at us. And this is true for anybody at any age, but I think right now, as we're getting older, we're really feeling the possibility that this may not be something we can sustain for the long term. So we're trying to do as much as we can while we can. So if you're following along, I hope you'll check out our books. Oh, I will say JT is having a lot of fun because he has, I've mentioned before, he has played on a variety of game sites. He plays things like chess and backgammon, and he talks back and forth with the people that he plays with online. I've never felt comfortable doing that, but he has kind of a, I guess, a virtual friends group that he plays with in these various game sites. And somehow, I don't know if he randomly mentioned it, but some of these people he's been playing have found out that he writes, and they're checking out his books, which is awesome. And it's fun because he'll tell me, oh, this person really enjoyed Serving Salvation, for example, and they had a lot of great questions about it. So we've been going back and forth, and he gets so excited about it. I love to see him so animated. He just got a message from one of the people that he's been playing that she and her husband are reading Serving Salvation, and they are hanging out with another couple, and the two of them were telling this other couple about the book. And so she told JT that not only did the husband of the other couple seem interested in the book, but that she hadn't seen her husband so animated about a book in quite a while. So he was explaining all the nuances of what was happening in the Serving Salvation universe. So this is what we like to hear. Word of mouth is great. Obviously, we appreciate people buying our books. Our books are also available in libraries, and we have plans related to libraries coming forward in the next few months. So stay tuned to find out what we may be doing in that avenue. But it is possible to get our books without having to pay for them. So if they're not available in your local library, you can go request them. Any of our books, you can just go to our website and see what we've released so far, and then you can just, if you're on your library website, and a lot of the libraries that have our books so far have the ebook versions, because we have released those through Hoopla and Overdrive, which is something we do through Draft to Digital, and those books can be requested from any library. And I've talked about how that whole process works, but if you do want to check out our books and you can't afford them, please go to your local library and request them. We do get a small fee when they are licensed to the library, and I think we get a small fee when someone checks them out and reads them. So I'm not really 100% clear on how that works, but that is a possibility. So like I was saying, we do appreciate when people buy our books, but if you just read them and tell your friends about them, that would be awesome. Check it out from your library and say, hey, I enjoyed this book. Maybe your friend will also check it out. So word of mouth is really what we're trying to build right now. And I was very happy to hear that JT has got that going on. His Sheriff in Nevada books have been our most popular so far, but the Serving Salvation books seem to be gaining a following. It's very small at this point, but the people who have bought them bought the entire series, because Serving Salvation itself is a complete trilogy at this point. Finding Salvation, which he is about to release the compilation of the novellas March 17th, so stay posted for that, or go look for our pre-sale. But Finding Salvation takes place 3,000 years before Serving Salvation, so it's the lead up to what happens in Serving Salvation. And the story is very interesting because Serving Salvation takes place in space on a ship. I've mentioned it reminds me a little bit of Battlestar Galactica, whereas Finding Salvation is based on Earth before the human, or a majority of the human race, actually has to go off on these ships to try to find a new place to live, because basically we've destroyed the planet. So Finding Salvation is some of the drama in the lead up to the launching of Salvation. And then the book that JT currently has in edits is a companion to Finding Salvation. Also takes place on Earth at the same time as Finding Salvation, pretty close, but with a different character, and it's more about the people who end up being left behind after Salvation launches. So that should be really interesting. I've read the first version, and I've actually enjoyed all of the books so far, and there may be more coming, who knows. He's always swearing that things are done, and then people give him ideas and inspiration, and he sometimes takes that and runs. So with all that going on with his books, my books are a little bit more low-key and in the background right now. Since I've mentioned I'm working on Restless Spirits Book 2, I want to get that out. I also have Restless Spirits Book 3 written. I am trying to get myself back into my graphic design for the Restless Spirits series, because I want to have that ready to go soon. I do have some ideas for character art. I do have a logo for the series and things like that. In the meantime, I'm playing around with my YouTube channel. I was doing some tweaks on it today because I've been watching a few videos here and there of people who have recommendations on what you can do to improve the quality of your channel, if not your videos themselves. But really keeping busy, and I know JT's been more focused on getting his books out, and he does obviously do a lot of administrative work for the business. He handles the finances, does the taxes, and all of that. So the two of us are very busy right now. We're trying to balance everything out, especially when we're not feeling great. But I will say, as I've been sitting here chatting with you, when I first sat down, I was feeling pretty darn rough. I did take a bit of a pain reliever, and I have a heating patch on the back of my neck, so I don't feel quite as rough as I did. I'm hopeful that I will get some of my beta revisions done today. I I got them back, I think it was Sunday. So during the Super Bowl, I was working on them while I was watching the Super Bowl. I wasn't really watching it. It was just on in the background, and I was listening to JT comment, but so far, I've only gotten through part of the first chapter, and I really need to get focused so I can get this done, because I have a vision with this universe, and I'm hoping that maybe somewhere along the line, I will find people, as JT has, who will be interested in what I'm writing. And I look forward to maybe going back and forth and discussing the universe that I'm creating, because I do think it's a fun one. I'm going to be talking more about my initial inspiration for book 3, which really started this whole process, even though it now has been dropped down to book 3. It's more of what I'm considering the pivot point of the series. And that's true of anything. I think there's always an evolutionary process as you're working on a creative project. So I'm looking forward to getting those out, and I really need to focus and get my beta revisions done. And excuse me, Froggy is trying to exert himself here. But I want to get those beta revisions done, get the book into editing, get book 3 into that process as well, get those covers up and running. I have so many plans for this year, and I was commenting with someone on social media the other day that the problem isn't ideas. The problem is that I want to get all of the ideas out at one time, and trying to prioritize is challenging. So that's the update that I have for you today. I really tried to be a little bit more linear in my thought processes, but I always end up going over on those tangents. I like taking the trails less traveled, I guess. If you are following along on this journey and you are on my YouTube page, you may see that I have made a change, that the Life of a Writer 2026 playlist is now featured at the top. I hope that makes things a little bit easier to find. I am into my 6th week of posting these videos, with the intention of posting one every day throughout the rest of the year. At the end of the year, I will revisit the idea and see if I'm going to continue to do daily videos, or if I may dial them back a little bit and do more in-depth videos that have a little bit more production value to them. But right now I'm doing the videos to keep myself accountable, to keep track of what I'm doing, and I want to try to focus more on getting my writing done, because I have so many books in the works. I have so many partial manuscripts that I need to finish. And as I also mentioned, my graphic design things that I'm playing around with too. Plus, I have an idea for maybe an art exhibit at some point. I don't know if I'm going to feel comfortable doing that. We'll see. But like I said, I have a lot of thoughts about what I want to do. So I need to end this video and get down to work, because it's going to take me a little while to get this posted even without edits. Then I need to do more beta revisions, JT and I have groceries coming today, so we'll need to take care of that. And of course, there are also the little daily tasks around the house that need to be done. So trying to balance everything out and do as much as I feel capable of doing, even though I've not been feeling 100%. But as I was saying just a moment ago, I'm starting to feel better. So I'm encouraged. I hope maybe some of my rambling discussion today is encouraging to you. If you are having a bad day, and maybe you're just scrolling through videos, I hope at least you don't feel quite so alone. There's nothing worse than feeling sick and maybe being home by yourself or being up in the middle of the night. That is such a lonely, lonely feeling. So if you happen to come across my videos and you're feeling that way, please know that I understand completely. I hope you don't feel quite so alone. And my healing thoughts go to you. If you happen across these videos because you are an aspiring writer, I hope that I'm providing you some encouragement to do what writing you can when you can. I'm obviously not aware of your life situation. You could be younger and working, you could be older and maybe incapacitated in some way. So I hope this will also provide you some encouragement. I'm not feeling that today's video has much in the way of entertainment value, but I hope talking through some of what JT and I are doing with our writing and editing processes may be a little educational. So I hope this blah, 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 blah. I do speak English. I hope this video has had a little bit of the elements that we are hoping to provide to others, which is encouragement, education, and entertainment. Oh, I thank you for hanging out with me. If you are someone who has actually watched the entire video, I really appreciate it. I understand that a lot of people might watch the first few minutes and then scroll through. That's completely understandable because there are so many options that, may be of more interest to you. But I hope somewhere along the line that I'll find my people and that you will kind of follow along on this journey with me because I'd like to feel not so alone. I did make a brief joke to JT earlier when he was telling me about his fans, talking to him about telling their friends about his books. I made the comment that I see how this relationship is going to work out. He's going to be Stephen King, whereas I'm going to be Tabitha. I'm not trying to put down Tabitha in any way, but in my experience, I've heard a lot more about Stephen King than I have about Tabitha. So I'm feeling a little bit like the lesser known spouse in this equation. Oh, anyway, I said I was going to end this, so thank you for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. I'm Cassidy Carson, and this is The Life of a Writer. Take care.